Just an update on Al and why he wasn't in the lineup today.
Alerick's in a different place than he was when he first got to us. He's a much better student, much better teammate. He's a team leader, and he didn't make a meeting that I thought was important, so I might have overreacted at the time, but basically we weren't going to play him today. Suspended him for the game as a penalty, and like I said, he's a team leader now, and so he's kind of held to a higher standard. And he'll be in the lineup tomorrow, but I didn't tell him to. He sat right next to me for part of the game. He was in every pitch cheering on his teammates, and he could have taken it a different way. We're certainly a better team when he's in the lineup, but there'll be times when he's not, and we need all of our guys to kind of act like he did when he's not in the lineup, and that's kind of have your guys back.
And then what was the reasoning behind rolling with Chad Dallas there with Crochet being out, and what'd you see from him?
Chad's fearless. He's a favorite, not the favorite in the locker room, because I think we got a lot of guys that, really add to our team chemistry, but the guys love him. He throws strikes, so that's kind of what you need on Friday is you need a guy that's fearless and throws strikes, and the team's going to have his back, so he meets all the criteria. And then I kind of told the guys, don't overanalyze these early in the year decisions or lineups. It might be flip a coin, it might be some kind of quirky theory on why we're rolling with somebody. And part of the thing that added to Chad doing is just he's the one that came in right after Crochet, the last scrimmage that Crochet threw, and he threw great. And he had the most rest and had thrown, like I said, as well as you could possibly throw last time out. So he ended up making us look smart because he threw pretty well.
4 innings from Hunley of the bullpen, is that really where you see him best helping this team as kind of a long inning guy?
Not really. A long inning guy maybe starting too. I mean, he's earned the right to be in the mix as a weekend starter as of last year. And with our season on the line, if you guys remember in Chapel Hill, we wanted the ball in his hand. He started there. He also has one of the best saves in Tennessee baseball history. And I'll argue with the great Coach Delmonico and anybody on that one. That save at Florida on that last game there to win the series was, you can't put it into words how much it meant to that team and the program overall. So he's a reliable guy in many different circumstances. And right now, because we got some guys that are sore, he's kind of a secret weapon or valuable weapon for him. We're going to use him a lot of different ways.
That's a little slower today. Was that kind of just a result of maybe some of the early jitters, cold weather out there?
I hope both. I mean, they weren't as effective, as we want them to be, and then we kind of keep track of quality at bats, and we had too many at bats. We got nothing out of them. Now those guys got some guys that can swing it too, so maybe it was just a day that the offense wasn't going to click. I know the plate was wide all day because the guys were throwing strikes, and the umpire that we had today certainly is consistent as anybody. So a variety of factors, but the bottom line is the hitters didn't have a great day today.
You've got a million of these games left. So how much do you actually take away from the first game? What's something that you look at and you talk to these guys about?
I'm glad we got to play. and then you talk about the environment, at least I did with the guys afterwards, kind of the environment or the vibe we had all day long. And it was good. Definitely no one was too tense. At times a little too loose. We want guys to celebrate when their teammates do something well, but got to be focused every pitch because you don't know which pitch is going to make the most difference in the game.
It took Connor until regional play last year to hit one out of the park. What's it kind of mean for him to get one out of the park early on this season?
I think other people have labeled him a catcher that's defense first and hit second, and I think he's shed that label as of late, but also with, how he hit at the end of last year. And he's equally, and we knew it, as good offensively as he is defensively.
Hathaway and Rucker, 2 guys I think had 2 homers combined last year. And is that kind of your offense as a whole going to have more long ball this year, more sophomores who are filling into their body with more power?
I hope so. I mean, we'll know at the end of the season, so I didn't know that, Rucker, we've been talking about how he can drive the ball to right field this year and couldn't before, but we haven't seen him hit the batter's eye in batting practice or a scrimmage, and he does it today. So pretty impressive, but if you see our guys in the uniform, Coach Q does a phenomenal job in this weight room with those guys, and they all have a similar look, and all those sophomores all look stronger than they did last year.
Chad 5 shutout innings, 4 strikeouts in his debut for Tennessee. What was kind of maybe your assessment of just how calm and relaxed he was in his debut?
Not really a surprise. It's his mentality. I think for me, the breaking ball he was throwing was as sharp as I've seen him throw it. And, it's a difficult pitch to hit. So if he's throwing strikes with his fastball and mixing that in, it's a pretty deadly combo. Where he got himself in trouble is probably where a little bit of fatigue set in, was when he was missing up in the zone and throwing balls where he walks a guy. But when he's in the zone, he's as effective as getting anybody out that we have on our staff, which is, in my opinion, a pretty high compliment or high praise.
With Crochet, is this a soreness that recently popped up, and do you think it's going to extend past this weekend in terms of his absence?
Yeah, it could, because I think what we did as a precautionary thing is to, first of all, assess the deal, and it is just soreness, nothing more. And having said that, we set him down for a few days to recover. He's got to pick the ball back up as he's done and start playing catch and re-progress with everything. We're not starting at ground zero, obviously, but we're not at where we were building him up to a pitch count of 60, 80 pitches. So we'll have a couple boxes to check back on the mound, and then back on the mound against some of our hitters before he's back on the mound against other hitters. So I'm in no rush. Been there before with this type of guy that's a junior leader and obviously has a big-time career after this is over with. So people will probably be frustrated with me, including him, on how conservative we're going to be. We're going to look out for him first, and we also want him pitching big innings in May. Less concerned, not that these aren't important innings, but less concerning innings in February than in May.
Jordan Beck hits in the 3-hole in his first collegiate game. Just kind of the thought process behind that, and what has he done to impress you?
He's got as good a work ethic, as good as presence, and also has the ability as any of the hitters we have. And we don't discriminate around here. If you're from Tennessee, another state, or a freshman, or a senior, it's the guy we feel is the best for that particular position on that day is what we're going to do. And that 3-hole slot is obviously a coveted one for hitters. But like I said, regardless if he's a freshman, he's shown he's ready for it and can handle it. And again, another guy that we can tip our cap to. He made us look smart. His at-bats were as good as anybody, even though he didn't have a ton to show for it.
With it being Valentine's Day, baseball kind of one of those sports that people look at as a very romantic sport. Can you kind of just talk about your love of the game a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the love of the competition as much as anything. Baseball was something I grew up going to Wrigley Field with my dad and things like that. So from a young age, it's been something I've been passionate about. But the thing I really enjoy the most is just getting out there and competing. And we train our guys hard. I mean, a lot of these nicks and knacks with injuries are guys, we're pushing them to the limit. But real competition is against another opponent and seeing what you can do on a particular day. So my favorite way to spend Valentine's Day was today. I just wish we would have played a little bit better. But we faced a really difficult senior pitcher. And again, all those things that come with opening day are now out of the way. So, my second favorite day of February will be tomorrow, when we can see if we can compete better than we did today.
One more, guys.
Coach, going into this, it seemed like a lot of the game, swinging for the fences, playing a lot of small ball. Is that a function of who you're playing, or kind of just the early stages of the season or something?
No, I think early stage, you got guys amped up, and adrenaline can be your best friend, or it can be your worst enemy in this sport, because it's not football, where you're on a crash course many a times. You got to be under control, and I think our guys were not under control at times, and again, feeding off that adrenaline from opening day, clean slate, come out of the gates, and we didn't do that. So hopefully we're a little more settled and a little more like ourselves tomorrow, but you do still want that kind of burst of energy. We saw it in the fall when we were good enough to have Clemson on our field, and our guys had that, this is the first chance to play another team type energy, but they used it to their advantage. Today, I think we used it to our disadvantage, if that makes sense. But again, we're facing a pitcher who's very experienced, was not afraid of our guys, and is a heavy mix. So we had a lot of guys out front with some of those off-speed pitches he was mixing in with Drake.